It was a gloomy day when I first saw the house of Usher.
Wish.
Foolish and wicked.
Wish, damn you!
I wish my son alive again.
In his house relay, dead Cthulhu waits, dreaming.
Good evening. I am Dr. Graves. Welcome to
Mystery on the Air.
Good evening. Did you find the house all right? Good. The roads in this area can be so unpredictable at times. Forks that appear and disappear. Landmarks which are there coming, but not going. It can be very strange, our little county. Rather like a town I know in Massachusetts. It's a quiet place with quiet people. A general store. Plenty of friendly pets. And most of all, a real love for local history. Especially one particular story made known to the world by our good friend Howie. Tonight, on Mystery on the Air, we are featuring another tale by H.P. Lovecraft. So settle in. Hold on to something solid. Keep an eye peeled for any dimensional rifts opening nearby. And get ready for the Dunwich Horror.
It's working now. Recording for the Department of Anthropology, Brown University. The date today is February 13th, 1939. Subject is Mr. Curtis Watley, age 60, formerly of Dunwich, Massachusetts, now residing in Lowell. Mr. Watley is only known witness to the events in and around Dunwich on September the 14th, 1928, referred to in the popular vernacular as the Dunwich Horror.
You want I should start talking now?
I'm sorry, I was just making some notes. Please, go ahead and begin.
Where?
I'm sorry?
Where you want me to start?
Oh, I suppose with the events of September 14th?
Story don't start there.
Well, perhaps, but what we're hoping to study...
I know what you're hoping to do. You're hoping to stir it all up again. You won't. Them Miskatonic men put it down. Ain't had any trouble since then. Not since Wilbur passed, and the Miskatonic men put it down.
Well, Mr. Watley,
Nigh on 11 years now.
Mr. Watley, perhaps you should start at the beginning.
You recording this, are you?
Yes.
My words put down?
They will be transcribed, yes.
Then I want it on the record. I want it...
Sir, of course, I understand.
I want it on the record. that the name of Watley has been sorely misused in the papers. Ain't fair what they wrote. There are two strands of Watleys. Always have been. My line, my pa's line, we're not like Wizard and his lot. Them's decadent.
Wizard, this was Noah Watley?
Of course he was.
Your uncle?
Yes.
And he was commonly called Wizard in the village, I understand. Oh, why was that?
On account of the goings-on up on Sentinel Hill, and the books he kept, and Lavinia and all the rest, put us to shame, all of us. God knows I couldn't stay in Dunwich no more. Live with my sister and her husband down Lowell now. Can't go back. You know what it's like to be driven out of your own home by your own kin?
No. I know I don't.
No damn use. Village all but gone anyway. Turnpike passed us by, the farm's out. Oh, no damn use.
Mr. Watley, if you'd rather not tell it,
I still get the $10?
Well, not if you don't provide the information. We just want your story.
You want the story?
Yes, sir. Just tell it in your own way.
I suppose the first thing any of us heard about it was that night in Osborne's store. Wizard, he come in all agitated, drove all the way into town middle of the night. Never known him to do that.
He was a damn liar, always has been.
But he said it was true.
Of course he said it was true. He would.
Well, hello there, Mr. Watley. To what do I owe the pleasure?
The pleasure? Pleasure's all mine, you fat lot of swine.
You now.
You hear them? The dogs?
Well, sure, they've been going on like that all night.
They don't like it. They don't like it one bit. And none of you gonna like it neither. Lavinia, she had her time. She birthed a son tonight.
What the hell are you talking about, old man?
My girl done give me a grandson, that's what.
Lavinia got married? Why weren't any of us invited to the wedding?
Now, be nice. Seriously, though, Wizard, we didn't know. Happy day. Congratulations to you and yours.
Yeah. Who's the father?
Easy now.
Just curious who got drunk enough to trip and fall into that old maid. Albino and all. Must have had a potato sack on her head. Right, Wizard?
Now, that's just mean. Stop it now. I apologize, Mr. Watley. These boys don't mean no harm.
Oh, of course we don't. Congratulations. But seriously now, Wizard, who's the father?
I hear you laughing. But I don't care what folks think. If Lavinia's boy looked like his pa, he wouldn't look like nothing ye expect. You needn't think the only folks is the folks hereabouts. I calculate her man is as good a husband as ye can find this sign of Aylesbury, and if you knowed as much about the hills as I do, you wouldn't ask no better church wedding, Norrin. Let me tell you something. Someday, you folks hear a child of Lavinia's a-calling its father's name on the top of Sentinel Hill. And then you'll know him all right. Then you'll know him all right.
Lavinia, that was,
Wizard's daughter. Old maid she was, and albino. Pale as dawn, hair like new snow. She had pink eyes like a bunny rabbit. Ugly woman.
She was a girl at the time?
Hell no. 35 she was. Not married, not even close to it.
And the child she had, that was, Wilbur.
Yeah. No one saw him for a while. 'Twan't no doctor or midwife overseeing the delivery. Local woman, Mamie Bishop, went up to see him about a month on. She said he was unnaturally large for a babe that young, and covered with coarse hair like a goat.
Did you believe her?
Oh, I didn't then. Of course, different now that I know.
I'd like to address this issue of the boy's parentage. Did Lavinia have any suitors?
Woman that age? Looking like she does? What do you think?
So how exactly...
Exactly what?
Her mother was dead, correct?
Long dead by then.
And no one ever remarried?
Maybe you'd better tell me what you're getting at.
It's just, when they talk of the boy's deformities, it seems a logical conclusion that he might have been a product of, incest. The two of them were locked up in that house for years, weren't they?
Ah, hell. I ought to punch you in the nose, but, you know, I wish it was.
What?
I wish he had laid with Lavinia. Be a shame on the family, of course, but at least the facts would all line up. As it is, we got no reason for it all. Well, except, of course, Wizard's reason.
What was that?
You needn't think the only folks is the folks here.
Wizard never had a doubt who the father was.
Someday, you folks hear a child of Lavinia's are calling his father's name on the top of Sentinel Hill.
He knew.
And you'll know him all right.
Sentinel Hill.
Sentinel Hill is a summit in the town of Dunwich. On it rest several stone pillars as well as what appears to be a circular stone altar. These structures are generally believed to be the remnants of Native American cult which practiced religious rites on the mound before the colonization of Dunwich. This hill also holds large deposits of human bones. Residents of Dunwich claim they are the buried remains of the Pocumtuck Indians, though ethnologists maintain the bones are Caucasian in origin. Source: New England General Survey with Notations, 1915.
Did you know him?
Who?
The boy, Wilbur.
Of course. Dunwich not so large a town, you couldn't lay eyes on every soul in it. And Wilbur, he ain't the type you'd forget.
There's a lot of conflicting reports here about him.
Conflicting?
What?
What do you mean by that? Conflicting?
Well, here, for example, is the account of the boy, Wilbur, born in 1913. But here's another account from 1920 describing him as a grown man, quote, with a heavy beard, deep voice, and over 6 foot tall. Well?
Yeah?
Which is it?
Ain't no conflict in your papers. What it says there, that describes Wilbur.
A 7-year-old boy with a full beard, 6 foot tall.
He was walking at 3 months. Talking like a schoolboy, a bright one, at less than a year. At just short of 2, he could keep up with his mother on her ramblings through the hills round town. Regular pair of mountain goats. They had to be on account of the dogs.
What dogs?
Dogs never liked Wilbur. Made 'em crazy to have him nearby. They'd bark, strain the chain. If they got loose, they'd attack him. That's why he and Lavinia had to climb on the hills so high. Later on, he took to carrying a pistol on his ramblings. That was his undoing in the end.
He was killed by a dog, wasn't he?
Yep. Had the gun with him then. But for a dented cartridge, he would have survived. Down Miskatonic, that happened. In their library.
You said he was very bright.
Oh, he was.
What was his education?
Wizard.
He never came into town for school?
No. Just Wizard. His crazy books. Had a whole collection of them passed down on the decadent side of the family.
What sort of books?
Witchcraft, I suppose you could call them. Spells. Ancient books. The kind you couldn't find in no store. Wizard, he'd take 'em up on Sentinel Hills, spouting gibberish. He'd be up there twice a year. On May Eve and Halloween, lighting a fire in the middle of the stone circle, opening his book and reading aloud those nonsense words. Folks around Dunwich, they knew to lock their doors those nights.
So it was his religion.
Close as Wizard had. Of course, he never thought of it as a matter of faith. He wasn't waiting for a savior. He was calling it.
Calling what?
Best look into his books if you want an answer to that.
Oh, Miskatonic has them all. They've been reluctant to release them.
Well...
So, after Wilbur was born, they continued to work the farm, didn't they?
Oh, not so as you might think. Not in the usual way. They bought plenty of stock, cows and horses, but their barns didn't seem to fill up. Never had more on hand than at any other time. Then there was the work.
What work?
Wizard was always doing something on the house or the outbuilding. He boarded up all the windows. New doors and locks would appear. One time, a whole pile of scrap lumber appeared alongside the house. Heard tell he'd taken out a whole floor, leaving the ground floor go straight up to the roof.
Why?
Of course, there were those that claimed to hear things. Those that passed by the house say they could hear something moving around inside. Something big. Big as an elephant.
Hello, Doctor.
Wilbur, how is he?
He's departing.
Noah? Noah, it's Dr. Houghton. Pulse is weak. You should have called me sooner.
They're ready for him. The whippoorwills. Their call is just about in line with his breathing now.
Wilbur,
Willie.
Here, Grandpa.
More space, Willie. More space soon. You grows, and that'n grows faster. It'll be ready to serve you soon, boy. Open up the gates to Yog Sothoth with the long chant that you'll find on page 751 of the complete edition. And then put a match to the prison. Fire from earth can't burn it nohow.
Yes, Grandpa.
Feed it regular, Willie. And mind the quantity, but don't let it grow too fast for the place. For if it bursts quarters or gets out afore he opens Yog Sothoth, it's all over and no use. Only them from beyond kin make it multiply and work. Only them, the old uns, wants to come back and...
I'm sorry, Wilbur. He's gone.
They didn't get him.
What?
The birds didn't get him. He's free. Soon, we'll all be free.
Yog Sothoth, Yog Sothoth, Yog Sothoth, Yog Sothoth, Yog Sothoth!
There's a blank in the record here after Noah Watley's death.
What about it?
Well, what happened? I mean, it was several years before the incidents at Miskatonic. What was going on at the Watley farm during that time?
Well, carpentry, for one. Loungers at Osborne's store reported Wilbur had moved out of the house. He fixed up one of the sheds and moved his books and bed out there. And he took out more partisans and walls inside the main house. Floors, too.
Why?
He was making the farmhouse one giant room, like a warehouse or a barn.
Why did he do that?
Because the thing he was keeping in it was running out of room.
So, where was his mother during all of this?
Lavinia disappeared. Oh, a year or so after the wizard passed. I felt bad about that. She was a simple soul, and Wilbur had started treating her poorly. He still lit the fires on Sentinel Hill each May Eve and Halloween, but he wouldn't allow her to come along anymore. And she told Mamie Bishop she was afraid of him. She said Wilbur was growing, learning more from Wizard's queer books than she ever could. And he was looking down on her more and more, treating his own mother with contempt.
Yes, but what happened to her?
No one knows. She just disappeared.
There wasn't an investigation?
Oh, into the decadent Watleys? Hell no. Sheriff knew better than to poke his nose in there. I figure most folks thought she got what was coming to her. She'd brought him into the world, after all.
Was this all before or after Wilbur visited Miskatonic University?
Oh, just before, I believe. Matter of weeks. That was a funny business. None of us thought Wilbur would ever leave the county. But he got down there all right.
Why did he go to Miskatonic?
Needed a book.
But you said Wizard's collection was very extensive.
It wasn't perfect. There was one book in particular Wizard had an English translation of, but it weren't written in English original. Wilbur caught wind there was a copy in the original tongue at Miskatonic, so he went down there.
Can I help you?
That's when the librarian fella, Armitage, got into it.
Dr. Armitage.
Yes, what is it? I'm very busy to... Good God!
You've spilled your tea.
I'm terribly sorry. I was shocked when I looked up and
saw me. My appearance has that effect on people.
I apologize. I'm sorry for how I reacted.
It's no matter. I'm Wilbur Watley. I wrote to you.
Yes, Mr. Watley. I recall, and I should have replied to your letter sooner.
What?
I say I should have returned your letter sooner. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you. I'm terribly sorry. I know this was a long journey, but your request, it's simply not possible.
You have the book?
Oh, yes, it's part of our special collections, non-circulating. I'm sure you understand.
It's here.
As I say, yes, but...
You've no call to keep it from me. No red tape should keep it from me.
Mr. Watley, this is a university research library, not a lending library, and we certainly do not allow books like the Necronomicon to leave the premises. There are perhaps 4 copies in the entire world, and besides...
Besides what?
That book will never leave this library. It's under lock and key, and it's going to remain there. There are some at this university that would have the damn thing burned. God help me, there are days I agree with them.
Have you read it?
Some.
Then you know. I can see it in your face. You know what's on page 751. This is my family's copy. It's an English translation, but it weren't done right.
Good God, where did you get this?
It weren't done right. I got to look at them both at the same time. Original and English side by side. This in here wasn't done right.
An English translation of the Necronomicon. Who would do such a thing?
There's plenty that would. There's plenty that know the truth. What you Christians call God, he wasn't the first God. And man did not always have dominion over this earth. There were others, old ones. They still are. They sleep now. They wait. But they'll return one day. When that day comes, there'll only be mercy for those that helped it happen. For the folks what stood in their way like you, there'll be no end to the pain.
Get out of my office. Get off this campus. There's nothing for you here, you freak.
My book, please.
Take the damn thing.
Think I'll try Cambridge next. Maybe Harvard won't be so picky.
Mystery on the Air will return. It can be in the sound of the orchestra preparing, or in the sound of a sculptor working in stone, or even in the sound of laughter from inside a theater. It is the sound of art being created, and for over 3 decades, the sound of art being created has rung loud and clear in northeastern Minnesota.
The Arrowhead Regional Arts Council has been encouraging local arts development in northeastern Minnesota through grants and services for over 35 years. Every year, they give out more than $500,000 to local artists and arts organizations, and that helps create $40 million in revenue and jobs created. To find out more about our arts programs or how you can get involved, visit aracouncil.org. The Arrowhead Regional Arts Council, where the arts flourish, you thrive. We now return to Mystery on the Air.
Damn dog!
Dr. Armitage?
One moment.
Dr. Armitage?
Oh, what is it?
Library, sir. There's been a break-in. Old Rufus. He's got the villain trapped in there.
What? Now?
Yes, sir. Don't know how much longer Rufus can hold him. He's a good dog, but this fella... Well, you better come.
Is it a giant over 7 foot tall?
Yes, sir. How'd you know? God in heaven, what the hell is that?
Call the police. Tell them to come armed. Tell them there's a madman loose on the campus.
Yes, sir.
I'll go to the library. Don't worry. I've got a pistol.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Watley. See you had your heart set on that book. Mr. Watley, you are badly injured. I should tend to your wounds. Rufus, down, boy. Down. Sit now. Good boy. I apologize, Mr. Watley. Our campus watchdog takes his duties very seriously. He's just a dumb animal after all. Are you hurt bad? Here, I just need to open your coat. Dear God! What are you? What are you? Rufus, sick him, boy! Get him!
Have you read the police reports from that night?
Of course not. What business is that of mine?
Well, he was your kin.
I told you. He weren't neither. He was one of the decadent Watleys. My side of the family's clear of them.
But you haven't ever heard what Dr. Armitage wrote about that night?
Some reason I should have? Wilbur died. That's enough.
I'd like to read it to you, or at least part of it, just to get your reaction.
What's that?
Well, Dr. Armitage's report to the police, specifically this part where he attempted to aid Wilbur with his injuries.
I don't see what good that'll do.
Here, it says this. Above the waist, Watley resembled more or less a man, though the skin of his chest appeared leathery, like that of an alligator. But below the waist, he bore little resemblance to a human being, or for that matter, any animal known on Earth. His skin was covered with thick black fur. From his abdomen, numerous greenish-gray tentacles protruded limply. Each ended in a kind of red, sucking mouth. In each of his hips was a pinkish, scintillated orbit, about a hand's width across, and in each orbit set what appeared to be a rudimentary eye. From his spine, a tail protruded.
Stop! That's enough. That's enough.
This can't be accurate.
You talked to Armitage?
Of course.
He strike you as crazy?
Well, no, but you can't.
Then he ain't. And he ain't the type go lying to no police, neither. If he said that's what he saw, then that's what he saw.
But you can't.
I never saw Wilbur the last months of his life. I don't know what he turned into. He turned into something, though. He wasn't no human anymore, if he ever was.
Morgan, it's you.
I apologize, sir. I know I said I wouldn't disturb you, but...
It's all right. I had... my eyelids got a little heavy.
Have you eaten? How long has it been?
I'm all right.
You're not, sir. You're really not.
I just needed to rest my eyes. I'm fine.
It's not going to bring him back, you know.
What?
That Watley fellow, diving into his papers like you have, reading his journal. It's not going to bring him back. You can't blame yourself for what's happened.
Do you think that's what I'm doing? Do you think this is all about guilt?
It's perfectly normal for a man of letters like yourself to attempt to understand the reason behind an event as pointless and cosmically chaotic as Watley's death.
Cosmically chaotic. Oh, now there's a turn of phrase.
Sorry, I've been reading some of the lesser poets lately.
Don't apologize. You're not far off. Look here.
This is his journal?
I believe so, yes.
I don't recognize the language.
Oh, nor did I. It resembles Sanskrit, but only in appearance. At first I thought it's some ancient offshoot language that's been lost.
Then how could someone like Watley know it?
He didn't, at least not as a language. I think he knew the symbols and used them to create a kind of cipher so they could keep notes in journals that no one else could read.
But you said the symbols themselves are ancient.
Oh, most likely.
Then how did he know them?
His grandfather's books. I had them retrieved from the Watley home in Dunwich.
You raided his library.
Don't make it sound so dramatic. There's no immediate family remaining. And here, the books can be looked after. They'll need to be looked after and locked up.
What is it, Doctor?
Here, I've translated this section. It's an entry from November of 1916. Keep in mind this was written by a boy, then all of 3 years old. Grandfather kept me saying the Dole formula last night.
And I think I saw the inner city at the 2 magnetic poles. I shall go to those poles when the earth is cleared off. If I can't break through with the Doho-Hana formula when I commit it, they from the air told me at Sabat that it will be years before I can clear off the earth, and I guess grandfather will be dead then. So I shall have to learn all the angles of the planes and the formulas between yer and nigger. They from outside will help, but they cannot take body without human blood. That upstairs looks it will have the right cast. I can see it a little when I make the Voorish sign or blow the powder of Ibn Gaza at it. It is like near them at Mayeve on the hill. The other face may wear off some. I wonder how I shall look when the earth is cleared, and there are no more earth beings on it. He that came with the Aklo Sabath said I may be transfigured,
there being much of outside to work on. Well?
It's, these are rantings, aren't they? A madman's rantings?
Well, neither one of us is a psychologist, but I suspect that if we were to engage one to look at these writings, he would tell us they are the work of a sane mind.
Impossible! Look at this. These are nonsense words. How does one even pronounce...
You're missing the point. Look at what he's written. They from the air told me it will be years before the earth is cleared. They cannot take body without human blood. I wonder how I should look when the earth is cleared and there are no earth beings on it.
You see? Nonsense.
No. He's writing of an invasion, an army of creatures. I saw Watley at his death. I saw what he really was. At best, he was only half human.
And the other half?
I don't know. I've never seen its like, and I hope to God to never see it again, but I think the Sentinel Hill of theirs was a place where they held rituals. Had been for years. Half of these books of Whatley's were chants and incantations, ancient knowledge, forbidden knowledge.
You can't believe this. You're a man of science.
I am a librarian, and as such, I must collect, keep, and do my best to understand the whole of human knowledge, even that which humanity would be better off not knowing. And while you desperately try to dismiss what is in these books as beneath your vaulted science, I believe they hold the key to our very survival.
What do you mean?
I mean that all the Whatley family has been doing for the past 3 generations has been to one purpose: to open a gateway between our dimension and parts unknown. And I believe the very existence of Wilbur Whatley proves that they were partly successful.
Then his death ends the danger, doesn't it? There are no Whatleys left to carry on.
No, Doctor. The danger is only beginning. The Whatley house in Dunwich is still occupied.
Mr. Watman,
Yeah?
are you ready to continue?
I suppose.
This is the part of the story where you become involved personally, correct?
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't catch that.
I said yes.
Can you describe for me the events of the week around September 14th, 1928?
We was quaking in our beds.
Who was quaking in their beds?
Whole town. Folks come into the store, said they'd run out to the bishop's place. Whole house was laid flat, like it had been smashed. Roof collapsed, walls collapsed.
An earthquake?
No. There were queer footprints leading up to the house and leading away. Big enough so's an automobile could get stuck in one. I had a hunch, and I talked a group of fellas into following me out to Wizard's place. There, we found the same thing. House was destroyed. Smashed. Like someone had busted it up for kindling.
What did you do?
I did what everyone did. Went home and locked the doors. We all hid out like that, quaking in our beds. Occasionally you'd hear something big, moving through the forest. But I never saw a damn thing. Came close to my house once, and I screwed up the courage enough to look out the window. Nothing there. But I could see the trees moving. I could see brush laid flat. I could see it all except what was causing it.
I don't understand.
No one does. No one. Except maybe that Armitage fella from down Miskatonic.
He came to see you, did he not?
Mr. Whatley?
Wish to God that weren't true, but 'tis.
Mr. Whatley, please come to the door. We have to speak to you. It's about your nephew Wilbur. It's urgent.
Most of all, I wish to God I hadn't opened that damn door.
Curtis Whatley?
I am? Who are you?
My name's Armitage. This is Dr. Morgan. We're from Miskatonic University in Arkham. We need to talk to you.
What's this about Wilbur, then?
I was there when he died, sir. I saw it happen.
Oh, what's that to me? He came to the end we expected him to. Trying to steal a book, wasn't he?
Yes, sir. My book. I'm the librarian at Miskatonic.
Then it's all over and done with. Wilbur, Wizard, Lavinia, they're all gone. Good riddance, too.
Are they? Are they all gone?
You fellas need to take a word of advice. You need to turn round. Head back down Arkham, right now.
There was one more in the house, wasn't there, Mr. Watley? Someone Wilbur left behind?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I think you do. I've been to the village and asked around what souls I could find. All told the same story. You led them.
What?
You've had some strange occurrences in this region recently. Houses crushed flat, entire families murdered. The storekeeper in town told me that when it happened, you led a company of men to the old Watley place, near Sentinel Hill. They found that house crushed flat, too, only that damage seemed to have been caused from the inside. You seem to know something about it.
Don't know a thing.
I saw him, Mr. Watley. I saw Wilbur, what he really was, and I've read his journals. They're filled with references to he upstairs, the other one, and such. Who was the other one? Who did Wilbur leave behind when he died? What was in that house?
You'll never see it.
I don't need to see it. I just need to send it back where it came from.
You agreed to help them?
Yeah.
Why?
Don't know. Suppose it was the chance to be rid of them all. For once and done with. Wizard and his whole line gone. Dead. Or maybe because I figured this Armitage fella was our only hope. Truth be told, before he knocked on my door, I was ready to die. Waiting for it. Looking up at the rafters of my house, waiting for them to come crashing down on my head any moment.
What happened next?
Sentinel Hill.
Mr. Watley! Yup! You stay here! Here! This is a telescope. You can use it to see what's happening.
Where are you going?
We need to get up there! Those rocks above the altar.
Oh, you shouldn't, Mr. Armitage. We need to get out of this storm.
This isn't a storm.
What?
Can you take this telescope? Can you watch, please? We need a witness.
What now?
Morgan and I, we need to climb the hill. We need to get above it. We're not sure what's going to happen. We need a witness. Can you do that? Can you watch? We may not survive, and we need a witness to tell what happened.
I stay here?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What happened?
Armitage, that other fella, Morgan. They went up the hill.
Just then?
They had one of them old books with them. And the sprayer device. Kinda which you might use spraying insects, only bigger.
What was in it?
Something. Something from Wilbur's diary.
I can see it a little when I make the boorish sigh, or blow the powder of it in gaza at it.
Whatever the case, it worked. They got up on top of the hill just as the trees around them started to thrash. Crash around like something was coming through. Coming to the altar stone. These stone pillars just above the altar. That's where they made their stand. That fella, Morgan, he had the sprayer thing. He hit it just once, and I saw. Oh, God.
Mr. Watley.
I seen it. Just for a second, but I seen it. Big as a barn it was. Bigger than a barn. All made of squirming ropes. Whole thing sort of shaped like a hen's egg, bigger than anything. With dozens of legs, big round as barrels. Nothing solid about it. All like jelly. It made of wriggling ropes pushed close together. Great bulging eyes all over it. 10 or 20 mouths sucking out all along the sides. Big as stovepipes, all opening and shutting and opening again. And on top of it all, up top, God in heaven, a face like a man. And Armitage and Morgan, they up top, some kind of ritual, waving their arms about and saying God knows what. But from the sounds of that thing, whatever they were doing, it was work. And then, out of the sky, I heard a sound like a freight train coming. It was coming down on us from the stars. And that thing on the hill, it roared some more, and then began to talk in that queer tongue of theirs. Then I heard it. I swear I heard it.
Mr. Walkley.
Big old clap of thunder come out of the sky. Lightning bolt hit that altar stone. Like a bomb went off. It knocked down trees. It spread a stench behind it. Wind blew off the stench soon enough, but the trees and bushes around Sentinel Hill, they ain't been right since.
Yes, but what happened?
Ain't you been listening, boy?
Yes, but what happened? None of this makes sense. Any sense?
Not to you and your sort, no. But it makes about as much sense as anything do. After that lightning bolt, everything got quiet. Armitage and Morgan come down from the hill, thanked me, and went on their way. I just stood there a while, looking up at that hill. It was gone. The thing was gone. I knew it. I didn't never see it but once, but I knew it was gone now.
How did you know?
Just did. Whatever that was, it didn't belong here. It was halfway between here and someplace else, like it had a foot in two different worlds. I'm thinking that's why none of us could see it. One foot here, one foot in the world where it belonged. I never will forget the sound, starting with them nonsense words it spoke, suddenly shifting to English. That, and the second I saw it, it had a face. It had a face a lot like Wilbur.
So it, whatever it was, it just disappeared?
Or died, maybe. All I know is we didn't hear nothing of it ever again.
They didn't find any evidence? No body?
What? None.
Dr. Armitage didn't pursue an investigation?
Oh, he was nearly 70 when it all happened. Heard he passed on. And that fella, Morgan, I heard he headed west.
Yes, we had no luck locating him. One last question, then.
Yeah?
Where did it come from? This massive thing made of jelly and wriggling ropes, big enough and strong enough to crush houses. Where did it come from?
Don't you know?
No.
Old wizard. He spent his life trying to pry open a door between our world and this other. And he never did manage to open it more than a crack. But you ever been in a dark room and someone opens the door a crack? Light that shines in damn near blinds you. That's what Wizard did. Opened it, just a crack, and shined that light right on Lavinia.
The daughter? What does she have to do with any of this?
You really don't see it?
No. What are you talking about?
Son, on the night Lavinia gave birth to Wilbur, she had twins. And the other, he took after the father.
Poor Mr. Watley. He sounded so sincere, so earnest, so handsome. It just goes to show that you can't go home again. Of course, when home can split open and spit out monsters, maybe you're better off staying at your sister's place. Dunwich is nearly a ghost town now, but at least we have the record, and the stone pillars which still stand guard on Sentinel Hill. The Dunwich Horror was based on the story by H.P. Lovecraft, audio adaptation by Jeffrey Adams. Our cast this evening featured Douglas Screef as Curtis Watley, Jeffrey Adams was the researcher, Wizard Watley and Wilbur, Justin Kapla was Osborne, Cody Boyer was Dr. Houghton, James Yount was Morgan, and Tom Bement played Dr. Armitage. Other voices by the talented cast. Editing and post-production by Jeffrey Adams. Some sound effects by the Free Sound Project at freesound.org. This program copyright 2019 by the Icebox Radio Theatre, which is solely responsible for its content. Learn more at iceboxradio.org. Now, this is Dr. Graves, reminding you to be careful what you check out at the library. And be sure to join us next time for Mystery on the Air.